Hello, welcome to another episode of Victoria Smells. As usual, I am a novice in the perfume world. I only just started getting interested in fragrances just a few months ago, so every time I do one of these episodes, it is just me trying to train my nose, to try to pick out notes, to try to develop my olfactory intelligence. It's worth mentioning that I am neurodivergent, I am hypersensitive, so I have extra nerves and extra nerve connections, so my brain does seem to detect a lot. I really surprised myself in my last episode smelling a Pinrose sample set. My nose was able to detect little notes that you would not think a nose could detect, but I did it, and I really am interested in studying to learn how to even make a perfume. You know, this is not just something I want to smell and like spoil myself and just gift myself fragrances to feel luxurious and feel a certain way. I'm actually interested in the creation of it. So if you are very knowledgeable in the world of perfume, if you have been a frag head for a long time and you're listening to me talk and you're like, oh my god, this girl doesn't know what she's talking about, well, then you should watch this, because watching this channel will help me get views, it will help me get watch time, it will help me get subscribers, and then I can monetize this channel and use the revenue from this channel to pay for real legit perfume courses. That's what I want to do. I want to become knowledgeable and skillful in this. I want to eventually create perfumes, because I have so many ideas up in here. So this episode is very special to me for a lot of reasons. Number one, I'm smelling a bunch of Nest fragrances. And Nest is really what made me realize I like perfume. I was always like a vanilla girl, you know, this comes from being like a silly little teenager, always wanting to smell like a cookie. This comes from growing up in the 90s and going to Bath and Body Works and smelling the warm vanilla sugar flavor and thinking that the epitome of smelling good meant smelling like a vanilla cookie. So in college, my roommate had a bottle of pink sugar that smelled like cotton candy, and I was like, ooh, I want to smell like cotton candy. And I thought that's all there was to vanilla smells, until I got this little sample of Midnight Fleur, and I smelled it, and it was a vanilla that I had never smelled before. It was vanilla and delicious and warm and like creamy, but it was not syrupy. It was not like a cheap cotton candy. It was not saccharine. It was just like nothing I had ever smelled before. So since then, I have become a very big fan of Nest fragrances. But this episode is also really special because Laura Slatkin, the founder of Nest, just did like a webinar on a podcast, the Fat Mascara podcast, in combination with Sephora events or something. I don't know how this whole event came together, but I signed up to like watch this podcast, and we were able to interact with this little chat, like a Q&A chat. So regular people just like me were able to ask Laura Slatkin questions. I decided to ask, what advice would you give somebody who is trying to get into the perfume industry, or somebody that wants to study to become a perfumer themselves? And she recommended Fragrance Foundation. So of course, right away I jumped on the website and I found that they have this little like program by Serendipitee NYC, and you can take these online courses from beginner to advanced. You know, if you're a beginner and you want to get into perfuming, and as your skill level increases, you do the next course and the next course, and you eventually get this little kit and you learn how to blend and things like that. And that's really exciting to me, because every time I try to search perfume courses or apprenticeships or anything like that, it always requires a chemistry degree. I don't have a chemistry degree. I have a psychology degree that I never used. I went to college and it was a huge waste of time, but also I am a very, very poor math student. I have a learning disability when it comes to numbers. So even though I love the sciences and I intuitively understand chemistry, when the time comes to write it down on paper and get all academic about it with the mathematical equations and the formulas, that's when I blow it. So there's really no hope for me of getting a chemistry degree as long as it includes math. I don't think I've ever passed math with anything higher than like a C+ since 4th grade. It's just, I can't. I've tried everything. I've tried tutors, I've tried extra classes. My brain just does not do numbers. So I'm really hoping that if I am consistent enough with these Victoria Smells episodes, and if I can be interesting enough or quirky enough to attract enough followers and enough watch time on this YouTube channel, that I can monetize this channel and use the revenue from this channel to pay for these courses, to pay for these perfume lessons. This is a way into the world of fragrance where I can start studying and I can start learning so that I can educate myself, so that I don't sound like a complete uneducated fool when I try to talk about fragrance, because as I say in the beginning of all these episodes, I'm a novice. I really don't know much about perfume other than what I learn in each of these episodes and what I study online, and really the extent of that has just been like vocabulary words. So let's get to it. So I got a Nest rollerball collection. You will notice that 2 are missing. The 2 that are missing are Midnight Fleur and Indigo, which I have full-size bottles of. So I gave the small little roller balls to a friend of mine because she loved the smell so much, and I was like, yeah, take it, I got 2 full-size bottles. But I also have some discontinued fragrances. I hunted down a Verde, a Passiflora, and a Midnight Fleur Soleil, which is very similar. Well, actually, I don't know. It is similar to Midnight Fleur, but not. We'll get to it, we'll get to it. Maybe I'll save Midnight Fleur and Midnight Fleur Soleil for last, so I can compare the 2. So I was on the hunt for green, fresh fragrances. This whole kick was kind of ignited by the Miu Miu Le Blue smell. It reminded me of like these fresh, open, green, grassy meadows, and I was looking for something similar. So when I saw that Nest had something green and fresh, you know, I was intrigued right away because Nest is already one of my favorites, and I was really interested to see how they would do a green and fresh. And when I saw that they were discontinued, obviously I had to have them. I have this problem where when I see something is discontinued, the urge to get it is even stronger. You know, like I feel special if I have something that is discontinued. So obviously I had to get it. So I think we have a nice mix here. Obviously all of these big bottles I have used multiple times already. I kind of already know what they smell like. But the roller balls I have not really had too much exposure to. I took the cap off and gave it a little whiff the day I got it, but I never really wore it. I never really gave it any time to develop on my skin. So I think I'm going to approach this the same way I approached my Pinrose set. I'm going to roll up my sleeves. I'm going to do tiny little patches down my arms and like roll my sleeve down as we go. And I'm just gonna go into it blind. I don't know what any of the notes of these rollerball fragrances are supposed to be. So I'm going to just see what my nose detects, and then I will look it up and we'll see how close I was. We'll see if my olfactory intelligence is improving as I continue making these episodes. I will obviously Google or look up an ingredient that I don't know, or I don't know how to pronounce, or I've never heard of it before. So here we go, let's get into it. Wisteria Blue. I will do Wisteria Blue first. Ooh, there is a description on the back of each one, but I'm not gonna read it. I'm really gonna try not to read it and just see if my nose can detect whatever it is I'm supposed to be detecting. Ooh, that's like, I mean, obviously it's floral because wisteria is a flower. It's floral. It's clean and it's fresh. It's not powdery, but it's still that clean, fresh, but not powdery. Ugh, like fresh rain on a rose garden type of smell. But like, I smell like a red flower, like a pink flower, like a peony or a rose, you know? Like, and that sounds counterintuitive because it's called Wisteria Blue. I feel like they're going to want light flowers, blue flowers, like actual wisteria flowers or violet flowers, or like a jasmine or something. But I don't know. I don't know what wisteria smells like. I don't know what straight up wisteria smells like, but I know what rose smells like. And I know what some other flowers smell like, but I don't know. I'm getting predominantly rose and like a fresh, dewy, like fresh laundry, fresh kind of smell. I don't think that there is any type of musk or vanilla or like woods in there. I really don't detect any of that woody, earthy. It's earthy, but not in the dirt and woods kind of earth. It's earthy in like the fresh and green and lush and hydrated smell. So I'm going to stop rambling and I'm going to, I guess I could just read the back of the box. Wisteria Blue, delicate notes of French wisteria. Okay, I believe you, but I don't know what wisteria smells like. I've never smelled a wisteria flower, so I'll take your word for it. Bulgarian rose, okay, yes. So my nose was like, oh, rose. I've smelled a lot of rose things in the past couple of episodes. I smelled a rose by Ellis Brooklyn, and I smelled a rose by Penrose. So my nose is getting pretty familiar with the rose smell. Imperial jasmine and fresh watery nuances. Okay, so I guess watery is the correct term to describe that rain smell, the dewy, fresh smell I was talking about. That makes sense because I was saying, oh, it's like really fresh, but not powdery. So watery, I guess that is a note. Watery, okay. But I'm also very interested to know, does that make this an aquatic? Because I have seen perfumes that are like aquatics. They're like in the aquatic category. What makes a perfume an aquatic versus a floral is my question. I have to try not to cheat. Try not to look at the other ones because I really want my nose to do all the work. The next one is Sunkissed Hibiscus. I also just really love the artwork on the bottles. I love that the artwork is like behind the bottle. It looks like the flowers are in the bottle. That is probably one of the things that drew me to Nest in the first place, is it looks pretty and it smells as pretty as it looks. So Sunkissed Hibiscus has this really pretty flower on it. Ooh, that's very beachy. That's like, okay, so I get that coconutty smell, like that little hint of like a sunblock smell. So it smells coconutty and beachy to me. It's sweet, it's creamy. There's probably some flower in there that I don't know what it smells like. I would not know how to pick it out of a crowd. It's like a sweeter, creamier version of Salty Flower by Viktor and Rolf, and I know they have like tiara flower, or is there like a frangipani in there somewhere? Like, I don't know. There are so many flowers and floral scents and notes that like I don't know what they smell like on their own. I've only smelled them in like a blended perfume, and I'm just trying really hard to pick them out of a orchestra of smells. It's you know, I'm not there yet, but this is really nice, really like romantic. It takes me to like vacation. It smells like a tropical vacation to me. And it's getting more vanilla-y. It's getting like a warmer, like a amber or musk. Maybe there's like a sandalwood in there somewhere. Like the base is very warm and cozy and comforting. I don't smell any citrus, I don't think. I don't smell any bergamot. I don't smell bitter orange. I don't smell lemon. I don't smell grapefruit. If I really, really like suck it in, I can tell myself that there is sea salt in there, but I don't know if that's true. I could just be like making things up. My brain could be smelling this and instantly be transporting me to the beach where there is salt in the air. So I don't know. I'm gonna look at the box. Sunkissed Hibiscus. Radiant notes of frangipani and orange blossom are combined with the warm golden amber to capture the mystery of a luminous sun-kissed hibiscus. Okay, so the fragrance is called Sunkissed Hibiscus, but I didn't actually say hibiscus. That's stupid of me. So I guess there's hibiscus in there. Warm golden amber. I think I did say that there was an amber in there. The warm, cozy note, either an amber or a vanilla or a musk. When I was researching about ambergris, I was also learning about regular amber. They're not the same thing. Amber is like a resin, and it usually has kind of like a vanilla-y smell or a benzoin smell, which is sweet. So I definitely detected that the warm, sweet amber notes. Orange blossom and frangipani. Okay, I only said frangipani. That was just a lucky guess because I don't know what frangipani smells like on its own. I only said frangipani because it reminded me of Viktor and Rolf's Salty Flower. There are some similarities. So even though I don't know what frangipani smells like on its own, my nose was able to detect something in Sunkissed Hibiscus that was similar to Salty Flower. I don't know if that's good or if that's cheating. I don't know, but there was a similarity, and I know that frangipani is like one of the things in Salty Flower, and I was like, oh, okay, that smells similar, so maybe I can. That was just a lucky guess. That's a lucky guess. I don't actually know what frangipani smells like. And orange blossom, I've learned, does not smell like orange at all. It smells like a flower. I'm surprised that there's no coconut. This really does smell like coconut to me a little bit, like the creamy, beachy coconut. The next one is Indigo, but I'm going to save that for one of the last ones because I have a full-size bottle, and if I spritz it, it might go farther. It might linger in the air, and it might disrupt my little tiny patch samples that I'm doing with the rollerball. So I'm going to skip Indigo and go to Wild Poppy. Okay, I don't think... Yeah, my sleeve is mostly covering Wisteria Blue, so I don't really smell the wisteria. At least I don't smell it here, where I'm about to put the Wild Poppy. I don't know if I know what a poppy smells like. So I'm gonna have to, just by default, assume that there is poppy in there. I'll take your word for it. I ain't never smelled a poppy before. That's really fruity. That does not smell floral to me. That smells fruity. That smells like berries, like strawberries, or even like watermelon. Really just fresh, juicy, watery fruits, like stone fruits, like a plum. Oh, what does this remind me of? There was a Bath and Body Works smell that my sister really liked as a kid, when we were kids, in the 90s and early 2000s, I guess. Or maybe it was like a Victoria's Secret lotion, or like a Victoria's Secret body spray. It was a green bottle. It was not Gardenia Lily. It was not Lily of the Valley. It was not Coconut Lime Verbena. It was pear. It was like a pear glacé or something. That there's something similar. So maybe there's like pear or plum or just something like really, really juicy, really sweet and really juicy. It's not sour. I don't think it's citrusy. I don't think there's anything acidic. There's nothing acidic about this. It's just like strawberries or cherries and like plum or pear or something. Like, I'm getting so much fruit and almost no flowers. Like, are there flowers in here? Like, this could be like a watermelon bubblegum or something. There's no warmth or musk or spice. There's no woods. There's no amber, I don't think. This is not like a warm, cozy, musky scent. This is similar to Wisteria Blue in that it is just like really like bright and fresh and but without the powdery, without the rain. It's kind of rainy. It's like a watermelon rind. But it's not as clean as Wisteria Blue is. Wisteria Blue is like really clean, and I guess that's what watery, like aquatic is. This is more like saccharine than that. It's more like syrupy and fruity, like fruit juice. Like you spilled fruit juice on yourself, but in the best way possible. Like you spilled fruit juice on yourself at a picnic in the middle of the grass somewhere. It's fruity and sweet, but in the most like refreshing way possible. And I'm gonna read the box now. I'm kind of nervous because I can't detect any flowers yet. It's called Wild Poppy, so I don't know. Are there real poppies in here? Luscious aromas of pear. Ah, yes, pear. I said pear. Raspberry and apricot. Oh, okay. So I was close, but wrong. Close, but no cigar. I did not say raspberry, but I said strawberry. I mean, they're kind of the same, right? No, they're not, Victoria. You failed. And apricot. Okay. I did not say apricot, but I did say stone fruit. I did think that I smelled a plum or a peach. I can't recall. I haven't had an apricot since I was like a teenager, so I cannot recall what an apricot smelled or tasted like, but I'm hoping it is in the same family as plum or peach. I hope I'm not totally full of shit. I hope I was at least close by saying stone fruit. Is apricot a stone fruit? I don't even know. Himalayan jasmine and rose. Okay. Yeah, okay. Now that I know I'm supposed to be smelling rose. Now, okay, yes. Now that I was told to look for rose, I can find it. Okay, so I feel pretty good. I feel, I was not directly on target with raspberry and apricot, but I did nail the pear. And I think the fact that I said strawberry, and strawberry is a berry, and it's red like a raspberry, like, come on, that's pretty close, right? Like, that's close. I think that's impressive for somebody that has only just started smelling perfumes. I've only been at this a couple of months. I've only done a few episodes of like blind smelling fragrances and trying to describe them. So I think that was a good guess. And if you think I'm full of shit, then keep watching and subscribe and help me monetize this channel so I can get a real education and actually know what I'm talking about. It's almost like the more wrong I am and the more angry I make the professional fragrance buffs, the more angry I make you, the more pissed off I get you, the more likely you are to watch and make fun of how wrong I am, and the more watch time I will get, and then I can monetize and use this YouTube revenue to pay for my perfume education. Maybe I should just be wrong. Maybe I should just be so wrong that you can't help but watch this and share it with your friends and be like, look how full of shit this girl is. She don't know what she's talking about. What an idiot. You know, like, will that help? I hope so. Please, I want to go to perfume school. I want to know how to make this. Okay, I'm getting too excited. Let's move on to the next one. Black Tulip. me make sure my Sunkissed Hibiscus is covered. Uh-oh, I smell pepper. I smell pepper, and y'all know how I feel about pepper, or maybe you don't know, but I explained it on my last episode when I was smelling Penrose. I have a very strong aversion to black pepper because when I was a toddler, I wanted to know how a pepper grinder worked, and of course, like a stupid little kid, I pick it up above my head and twist it, and black pepper goes into my eyes, into my nose, into the back of my throat. It was a very traumatic experience. I cried. It was sensory overload, and ever since then, I do not like black pepper. I very seldom cook with it, or if I do, I use a very small amount. I cannot do black pepper, so immediately, right away, I smell pepper, and this makes me upset because I never wanted to make a face at a Nest fragrance, but I might have to make the pepper face, the nope face. Okay, it's peppery, but I feel like it could be masculine. I feel like, I don't know, in my brain I kind of lump black pepper in the same family as tobacco or as leather. Even though leathery is not peppery, I feel like they all kind of go into the same family, sort of. So this is surprisingly like masculine and peppery and maybe tobacco-y, although it doesn't smell like dirty enough to be tobacco. It smells like a fresh cracked pepper and not like a dirty tobacco. It's fresh and not dirty. And the pepper is, well, maybe I'm just used to the pepper now, but I'm finally starting to smell the sweeter note. It's almost reminding me of wine, like red wine. And fun side note, I did work in a big wine and liquor warehouse for a few years, so while I was there, I did a lot of tastings, and I would always ask my boss for her professional opinion, and she was like a super taster when it comes to wine. You know, her sense of taste and I guess her sense of smell is also like really, really developed. So she could detect a lot of things in wine that most people could not. I don't know that much about wine, but I know like what notes are in what wines. So the fact that this is reminding me of a red wine means that there's got to be some kind of cherry, some kind of chocolate, cherry. I don't want to say chocolate though. It's not chocolatey. What red wines are peppery and cherry-y and like plummy? Like a Malbec or a Cabernet or a Chianti. I don't know if that's the intention. Yeah, wow. Okay. I don't know. I'm intrigued. I have to read the back of it. Black Amber Plum. Plum is in some of those red wines, but I don't know what Black Amber Plum is, but I hope I get some kind of point for saying, you know, a plum red wine, like a red wine with plum notes or cherry notes or whatever. Like, I hope that gives me some credit, please. Please, I'm not crazy. I promise I'm learning. Nuanced with the aroma of patchouli, pink pepper, and Japanese violet. Wow, okay. So I obviously did not even bother naming any flowers. I did not say patchouli, I did not say violet, I did not even say tulip, I did not say rose. So, I lose. I did not say anything about flowers. But pink pepper, okay, I don't know what pink pepper smells like. I have never smelled pink pepper. I don't know how it differs from black pepper, but my nose knows pepper when it smells it. Like, I guess pink pepper and black pepper are similar enough that my nose is like, no thank you. So I'm sorry that I was not specific. I did not nail pink pepper, but I smelled pepper, and that has to count for something. Damn, I thought there would be cherry in here. Okay, just plum. Man, I was hoping I would pick out more than that. I think next would have been Midnight Fleur, but again, I'm going to skip it so I can keep doing like small concentrated patch tests on my arms, and only when we get to the end, I'll like spritz something. So the next up is Dahlia Vines, Dahlia and Vines. I've never smelled a dahlia flower. I'm really like, oh God, I need to go to like a greenhouse or a nursery and just put my nose in every flower and take notes, because it's embarrassing how few of these flowers that I've actually smelled and I'm actually familiar with. But there are also some flowers that don't really have a smell until you like crush it up. I'm trying to find a spot on my arm. It doesn't smell like anything. Okay, I think right there is good. Wow, that one is difficult. That is tricky. I don't even know what to make of that. I don't even know what my first impression is. Kind of, I mean, it's definitely floral, but it's also soapy. And when I say soapy, like the kind of soap that we use is Irish Spring. So I'm automatically thinking of like a green, fresh soapy, like a masculine soapy, not a fruity soapy, I don't think. But I don't know, it is kind of fruity too. It's sweet. Oh, this is really difficult. Okay, so can I eat it? Is this the type of sweet that I can eat? Can I eat it? I think that should be one of the questions I should ask myself whenever I smell anything sweet. Can I eat it? Can I eat this? Maybe. It might be a berry. Oh, I don't know. It's similar to wild poppy in the way that it's a sweet, fresh, fruity. So it's making me think of the watermelon smell, the watermelon rind smell, or like a cucumber, like green, like something fresh and green, but floral. Oh man, this is so hard. This is the hardest one. Now that it's drying down a bit, it's developing into something softer and more laundry, more again, I hate using the word powdery, but it is starting to get more of like a fluffy laundry smell, clean laundry smell. I don't know. All I can say is that it's fresh. It's very fresh. Floral, sweet, fresh. And that's it. That's like all I can get. Gosh, I don't know. I don't know. I have to tap out with this one. I really don't know. I'm sorry, Laura. I let you down. Dahlia Vines. Dewy daffodils, peony and rose are blended with the essence of garden vines. I failed. I don't know what a daffodil smells like. I mean, I have smelled daffodils at one point in my life. I know I have, but I don't remember it. Although the fact that they use the word dewy and garden vines makes me think that they were going for like a fresh, bright green smell, like a fresh, watery green smell. I don't know. Maybe that's just wishful thinking. I'm like hoping that I was right somehow, but I didn't nail any of this. Peony and rose. Is there rose in there? I guess there's rose in there, but it's not like the rose that was in Wisteria Blue. Maybe that's because there was no jasmine in there. I'm so used to smelling rose with jasmine that I don't know what rose smells like without the jasmine. It's so nice, but just so indescribable. So the last one, well, at least of the roller balls, the last one is Citrine. I'm a little bit nervous about Citrine because, Citrine implies that it's citrusy, and I can't get this one out. And I usually don't like citrus. I don't like the way citrus smells on me. I don't like the way citrus smells on most people. I think it gives a very acidic, sour. Well, it depends on the person's body chemistry. I've talked about this before. I think most people with like a earthy, musky body chemistry don't smell good with citrus smells because it just adds sour, acidic, fermenting, like, you know, garbage that's been left out on a hot summer day. So we'll see. It's not even that citrusy. Like, I thought something called citrine would be very citrusy. Maybe it's a little orange. It's a little orangey, like a bergamot or like a bitter orange. This is also difficult. It's citrusy, but not in an acidic, bitter, sharp way. It's citrusy in like a softer, like you're smelling somebody's hair who uses like that Garnier Fructis brand that has the citrus oils in it, or like an Herbal Essences shampoo. It's like fresh citrus, not sour citrus. Oh, freesia? I don't know. Like, I don't even know what freesia smells like, but it reminds me of other things I have smelled that has freesia in it. So maybe there are white florals? Are there white florals in here? What are some white flowers? Are tiara flowers white? Tiara, freesia, jasmine, patchouli, I don't know. Daisies, I don't know. Orange blossom, bergamot, it's orangey and floral, and that's it. That's all I can detect. The dewy softness of lotus flower and freesia. I said freesia. I don't know what freesia smells like alone, but again, my nose recognized a similarity between this and something else I smelled that had freesia in it. So, like, thank you, my nose is learning something. Sparkling citrus notes and hints of precious woods. Sparkling citrus. I don't know. What makes citrus sparkling? Is that the same thing that makes it smell like a fresh citrus rather than a sour citrus? Sparkling, like orange soda. I don't know. I'm full of shit. Okay, all right. So, I get one big fat point for being able to name freesia. Okay. So we finished the rollerball section, and now we have to move on to my bigger bottles. So I already know what these smell like. I don't even necessarily have to spray them. I can just tell you what it smells like, and you know, I've obviously read the description of my full-size bottles before I bought them, so I know what they smell like, I know what the notes are, I know what I'm getting into. But I do want to talk about Indigo really quickly because my husband bought me a full-size bottle like a year or two before it became a bestseller. Like, if you look on Sephora's website now, the Indigo is like a top seller, very popular right now. I don't know what drew me to it because it's a weird combination of like cashmere, dark woods, tea, fig, cardamom, like these really exotic, like dark, kind of spicy smells that I would not think I would be attracted to. Hello, my cat is here. He's been here this whole time. And I don't know what drew me to this because, you know, on paper, this looks like something I would run away from. Moroccan tea, cashmere wood, black cardamom, enhanced with hints of wild fig and bergamot. Yeah, this, you would think on paper that this is like a citrusy, spicy, woody, dirty kind of smell, like everything that I hate. But for some reason, it works. I really like it. You know, I was obsessed with Midnight Fleur first, and my husband knew that, so he got me a full-size bottle. And it might be very, very backwards to say this, but I almost feel like Indigo and Midnight Fleur are like sisters. Maybe it's just the packaging, the artwork that makes me think that. To me, they're like sisters. They're not twins, and they're not even sisters that are alike, but it's like one is the really like sweet, good girl, warm sister, and the other one, Indigo, is like the really like bright and spunky and snarky, but weird, mysterious, but like I feel like they're similar somehow. But when my husband got me these two bottles, I was like, ooh, Midnight Fleur, that's like so like sensual. That's like a nighttime sexy fragrance. And then this is like the daytime, I mean business fragrance, you know? So like they just, I don't know. I just think there's always going to be a special place in my heart for Indigo because it was the first full-size bottle that I got immediately after Midnight Fleur. So it was, to me, it's like Midnight Fleur paved the way for Indigo, for me. So I don't think I have to spray this. I think most people know what this smells like by now. You've probably seen advertisements for it, or you've seen reviews of it. You've probably seen descriptions of it. I don't think I need to spray it. At first whiff, it is surprisingly like spicy, like dirty, earthy, and that's probably the cardamom and the woods and the tea. But it's still so soft and like delicate and feminine, but professional, and like it's just so special. Like that just goes to show that Nest can still take notes that I usually don't like and still make something so good, like that I love it. And Midnight Fleur has been around for a while, so that's woods, black amber, patchouli, vanilla orchid, a night blooming jasmine. I don't know what that is, but that makes it sound like really elusive and really exotic and really special without being overwhelming. This really is a smell that like draws you in. I got compliments. Every person that I stood next to smelled me and was like, you smell amazing. And I was so excited to be like, thanks, it's my favorite perfume, here. And I showed them a little bottle, you know, this size. This was the first size that I had of Midnight Fleur. And like I went through it so quickly. Oh, it's just magical. It's magical. There is magic in this bottle. It smells so complete. Like, it's everything. It's the total package. Like, you would think there is a singular flower out there that just smells like this. Like, everything is blended to perfection. I want to meet the perfumers who make these because, like, oh, they're genius. Like, this is magic. Like, it's magic. It's vanilla. Like, it feels like me. It feels like teenage me that wanted to smell like vanilla, but grew up and is romantic and is an adult. That's just really like special. This is special. But I also wanted to compare it to Midnight Fleur Soleil. I don't remember what the notes are in this, so I just put a little dabby on my wrist, and we will compare the two. There's something fruitier about this one. There's something like fresher and like brighter, like juicier. Midnight Fleur is sweeter. Like this is still sweeter, more vanilla, more honeyed. And Soleil is like more tart. But they're still somehow so similar. These two are like fraternal twins. They had the same mama, but one it just has a different personality than the other. And like, I want a full-size bottle of Soleil, but I'm fairly certain it's discontinued. Passion fruit is the fruity note that kind of like separates it from traditional Midnight Fleur. Passion fruit, vanilla orchid, exotic woods, lotus, and jasmine. I'm already like checking the internet to see if there are any full-size bottles being sold. Oh, it's so good, so magical. But this is like a lighter, brighter, fluffier magical. And this is like a deep, mysterious, like witch magical. This is fairy magical, and this is like a witch magical. Last two, Passiflora and Verde. Now, I don't know if Passiflora is supposed to be passion, flora, or Passiflora, I'm not sure of the pronunciation, so I'm just going to call it Passiflora. This smells like watermelon rind. It smells like you've been trampling on sweet flowers, and now that you stepped on them, they've started to ferment a little bit. It smells like rain. It smells like fresh cut grass. It is fresh and green, but sweet. It's fresh, green, and sweet, and fruity, and floral. It reminds me of like a Charms lollipop, like a watermelon Charms lollipop. And it's so interesting. I've never smelled anything like this. When you read reviews of this fragrance, it's very controversial. People either love it or hate it. People either think this is the best thing they've ever smelled. It reminds them of being a child and like going on a family picnic and playing games and running around in the grass. Or people think it smells like rotten fruit. They think it smells like awful, like fermented something. I see both sides. I understand both sides. But it's just so, like, it just draws me in. It's so interesting. It's unlike anything I've ever smelt before. And I like when things are interesting, even if they're bad. If something is bad but different, I will still like it. To me, that's good. If something is so different and so unique that it's bad, that it offends most people, I am more likely to like it. Passiflora is green notes, passion flower, hyacinth, and lily of the valley. So it's just so fantastic. It really is. And Verde is like the masculine, earthy form of Passiflora. So Passiflora is really up here. It's like the tips of the leaves. It's like fresh cut grass. It's the flowers, it's everything that grows up here with the rain and the dew and crushed leaves, and Verde is down lower. It's like dirtier, earthier, woodier, soil, tree bark, vetiver, rooty, cedary. I'm just gonna pull up the descriptions for you. Verde is fern, verbena, vetiver, and Himalayan cedar. And even though it's marketed as a feminine scent, I feel like it borders on androgynous. I feel like this would smell very good on my husband. So I'm so excited to have these full-size bottles. So thank you so much for joining me. Thank you so much for smelling with me. Please consider subscribing, and please consider just, you know, even if you don't watch my video, just leave it on in the background. Like, I'm really trying to accumulate some watch time so I can monetize this channel and hopefully pay for proper perfumery courses, perfume school, perfume apprenticeships. Like, I want to learn how to create magic in a bottle the same way that the Nest perfumers do. Like, this is the first time I've really enjoyed something in my life, but also thought like I could be good at it. Most of you might not know this, but if you are coming here from my other YouTube channel, my ballet channel, I guess it's worth repeating that I am a ballet dancer. You know, I have tried very hard to make a career off of performing and teaching. I had a successful few years teaching in studios. I have a solid YouTube channel that is dedicated to ballet technique tutorials. I am with a small contemporary company right now. I have done freelance performing and things like that. But the fact is, ballet is not a lucrative career. We hardly make any money. We have to pay more money than we make just to stay in shape, just to buy our shoes. And as it is, I have a diagnosis that would imply that my body is going to start breaking down earlier than the average dancer, and I'm not going to be able to continue dancing at 100% for much longer. So the time has come for me to make a career change or consider something else. But the thing is, I've never been excited about anything else. I have never been excited about anything else in life other than ballet. and possibly cooking, but I don't want to work for a restaurant because I want to have the creativity to make what I want. I don't want to have to make the same dish and make it the same way every time over and over again. I like to be creative. I like to make new things. I like to just create intuitively, just based on sensory feedback. And, you know, discovering perfume, the idea that I can create smells the same way I create with flavors. Like, I'm excited about this. I didn't think there was anything else in the world that I could ever be excited about, that I could ever want to do and really see myself doing. But like this is just so creative. It's so satisfying. I love learning about it. I retain everything that I learn about perfumes. Every time I go and do a little research rabbit hole, every time I look up a new definition or a new ingredient, like, I just love this so much. And originally I thought it would be impossible because I don't know if I could ever get a chemistry degree. I'm such a bad math student. I have pretty severe dyscalculia, and I feel like I'm never going to be able to do the required mathematic courses that come with a chemistry degree. But if I can get some kind of money and pay for these perfume courses through Serendipitee, which were recommended by Laura Slatkin herself, so of course I'm going to do anything she says, that's really like the first step. That's really like, I'm trying to take this first step. So please help me out, subscribe, watch my stupid videos, even if you're not interested, put them on in the background. You can put me on mute, just let them play, just let me get those watch hours. Let me try to monetize so I can go take the first step of this dream, of this journey I have, like this goal that I have. I want to become a perfumer. This passion just kind of bit me in the butt out of nowhere. Didn't see it coming. But, you know, it's like I'm hooked now, and this is all I want to do. So thank you so much again, and I will smell you later.